second. Wait.
Okay.
All right.
We're recording now.
I got these.
Yeah, I'm going to have you hold that up too when I talk about it.
Okay.
All right,
We're
guys,
gonna
we
show 'em,
are
we're gonna show 'em.
on. We are on.
Okay.
So welcome to the Corso Academy podcast with Tony Scandy and your host, myself, Pam Greshock, and we got
Whoa.
Whitney down there. Hey, Whitney.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good. And we have our favorite guest on again today, Joe Church.
What's happening?
Connie Corso. How's it going?
on? Oh man, all is well. How y'all guys doing?
Great.
All
So
right.
we will kick off episode number 6 today. It's going to be about best kennel practices. So this episode is really going to talk to the average dog owner like myself, a couple of breeding professionals like you guys, and then a professional dog trainer. And we're going to talk about what the kennel should look like, the expectations of somebody that's just really looking into the dog world, people that are inside the dog world. And we're also going to talk about boarding and training facilities, what those can look like, why they might be different. And we're going to even get into some best breeding practices and a few questions at the end today. So it's going to be a jam-packed episode. We're going to try to keep it as condensed as possible. I have some funny stories to share. And we will try to make sure we reel it all in as best as we can, but you know how we do. So
Stay
without
tuned to the end. It's going to be funny in the end.
there'll be some special mentions at the end, so don't leave, you guys. You can
Special
double
mention
speak
for
if you want
sure.
if you want to hurry up, but make sure you listen to the whole thing. So Whitney, I'm going to leave this to you because you wanted to kind of kick it off with a few kind of subjects and questions to get started on. And again, we're going to answer questions at the very end.
Yeah, so this episode's it's going to be really good for folks that are starting off breeding, right? You know, getting some good tips and suggestions. If you've been breeding for a while, right? Some things that you might think to switch up. But here's the thing. Everybody always talks about when you're going to go buy a puppy, you got to vet the breeder, right? Vet the breeder, make sure you're finding a good ethical breeder. And that's absolutely true. Vet your breeder. But you know what nobody ever thinks about? How about the breeder vetting the client too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'd love to
Yep.
talk about that with these two gentlemen here. The breeder vetting the client. And I think some of the stuff that you guys might have to share might be surprising, right? On how a breeder does vet the client and who do you want to have your puppies. So can we lead with that? Can we lead with, Tony and Joe, when you have somebody, calling you, they want to purchase a puppy from you, do you have certain protocols, certain things that you go through where you think, hey, you know what? I think I want to sell these people a puppy, or no, I don't. Can you kind of elaborate a little bit on that? Joe, we can start with you.
Okay, yeah, I'll go first. So for me, it starts with the application, so I can get a better understanding of who I'm talking to, and then after that, it's the phone conversations, and a lot of it is common sense, hearing things that might not work. Now he done did it a long time. So he's probably seen some repetitive things where he might say, There's some things I've learned on the way that I was like, I made a mistake. Now, I never got a Corso back, but being that I breed the Alibi too, I've got them back by not thinking, not being smart, not putting a dog in the right situation. And it helped me target the customer I want to target. I want people with 2-3 acres, small homesteads, farms, and everything for that Alibi dog. And it can work as property protectors, but that's who I want to see it. I don't want to get that dog back. That dog is not necessarily a dog that goes home to home and does well, not to me, in my experience. But it always starts with the application to me, just see who I'm talking to.
Before you even decide if you want to let them even come out and take your time and look at your dogs and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because they might not have the right living situation. And then people lie. You know what I'm saying? I had a lady was like, boom, I got this, that, boom, whoop-de-whoop, whoop-de-whoop. The dog gets a year old and she says, my son was mostly taking care of the dog. I can't take care of the dog no more. Here you go. I was able to place the dog on the farm, but some things didn't add up. I heard about it, her posting the dog in a Facebook group, and but I'm glad she got back with me because some breeders saw it and said, "Hey man, ain't that your dog?" Because ain't nobody got a lot that dog that I'm running. A lot of people don't have that blood here, and it just look different. It's a way cleaner dog than you see around here. So yeah, I got notified. So
well, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Tony?
With me with that, and that's a good topic that you just brought up. Very good topic. So, I've been doing this, like I said, about 37 years, maybe going on 38 now. So with everything that you do in life, you're always automatically you're filling out people. You're vetting people out, no matter anything you do, not just this. If you go somewhere in public and you take your child somewhere, you sign up for a team. Even when we signed up for a team to play on a team, we're vetting out the coach. We're checking out the coach, seeing what he knows. We're filling out the other players. Do we want to play on this team? Do we want to work with these players? Do we want to play with players? Then when you get on a team, do you want to accept what this coach allows, what this coach doesn't allow? It's the same in everything in life. When you go to a doctor's office, you're dealing with a doctor. Do I like this guy? Do I not like this guy? Do I switch up? So it's just a life thing. It's a life skill, and we develop it. People develop it. In this, you develop it a lot faster. And, because this type of business, you deal with a lot of people, talk to a lot of people on the phone. And there's different things, like Joe said, you're going to catch some comments that people make. And right off the bat, you're going to be like, okay, they're not going to be a client of mine. You don't rudely tell them that. What we do is we just kind of like blow them off. Yeah, no problem. I'm going to have some puppies in about 6 months. Reach out to me. That's what I do. Reach out to me in about 6 months. Maybe next year I'm going to have what you want. Just keep in touch. They're not going to wait 6 months or a year. Those are the people that don't want to wait anyway. Yep. It's an easy, polite way to just get rid of them. Now, I don't want people that are listening to this that I told them we're going to be waiting about 4 to 6 months to think I'm talking about them, because I'm not. It's, these people, I'm saying this to, that if I have puppies now, if I got 2 litters at the time and I don't have a single pup sold, which never happens, but if I have 2 litters and say I got 25 puppies and don't have a single deposit on them and there's nothing sold, I'm not selling this person. I'm going to tell them, reach out to me in about 6 months. Maybe next year I might have what you want. I could have sold them something that same day. It's not about the money. It's about placing every single puppy in the right home. And there's going to be times when we come across the people, we just don't want to sell them a dog, for any different instances, because of the character they have or what you think they might do with the dog. I've had guys that I could tell many, many years ago. I haven't had it in probably the last 15 years. Way back in the beginning, I knew all they were going to do with my dog. They wanted a big, strong Corso to go wrestle and be the dog to work their pit bulls, where they put muzzles on both of them. It's called their bait dog. They put muzzles on them and they let them fight when they're getting them prepared for, like they call these 6-week keeps, where they're preparing them to go into a fight. They wanted their pit bull to fight with that big 125-pound Corso, to wrestle around with muzzles on for shoulder strength, leg strength, developing all kind of. It's a smart tactic. It's not going to do it with my dog. I'm not interested. It's not going to happen. So, those people, I would just kind of, about 6 months, give me a call, because you don't want to piss somebody off or offend them, because people are messed up. Somebody might want to come, buy your house, do something stupid. So you got to be careful with that when you don't want to sell to somebody. Instead of just being, hey man, listen, you're not getting a dog from me. You can go somewhere else, pound salt. There's a lot of wackos out there in the world. So to keep the wackos under control, you got to be nice. So there's also people that present themselves as like the greatest people in the world. They're going to be the best home. And we just had one. Actually, we just had a guy come out here. And, did you ever hear that story? We always call that person Karen. There's that new saying, Karen. It's a Karen. Right. We got a guy named Brett came and visited us, came and contacted them.
I knew you were going to use that, Karen.
You knew that?
I knew you were going to do that. Yeah,
my new word for a man who's a Karen is Brett. Brett is the new Karen. You know what I mean? So when you guys hear me talk about Brett, the dude was somewhat of a cool dude. He's not a bad guy. Here's the thing with this guy. Sometimes you get somebody that he just got involved in this about, 2 weeks ago. Maybe it was 2 months ago. Reached out to a couple breeders. Canadian breeder who's a really, really nice girl. Breeds some great dogs. Class act, you know what I mean? Vets are people. Took a deposit
also
from
a friend of yours.
She's a great lady. She's come down. She bred the brew. Really, really nice lady. So she recommended just me and another friend of mine. And that was it. And a person overseas. Well, this guy reached out to those 3 people. And he was talking about her to me, talking about her to the other people. I'm like, man, you got one person you dealt with and talked to who stands behind her dogs 100%, and you're going to talk shit about her, you already rubbed me wrong. I already know you're full of shit. So, talking about like little different things that were just stupid shit of what he didn't like. And I'm like, this dude got some shit wrong with him. But he wanted to come visit the kennel so bad. And he reached out to you guys, Pam and Whitney. And you guys know how I am. Joe, you know how I am. You call me on that day, come on down, man. I don't give a shit who's been here. If my kennel's cleaned up, if my nephew's been here, come on and see the dogs. Dogs are in the kennel. We want to come see them, come visit. We were actually going to do a little shooting of a little podcast. And I said, you know what, man, you want to come down? He was going to see his family, brother coaches football. Come on down, come visit the kennel. And I said, listen, man, here's the deal. My nephew ain't been there yet. You're going to come down. You're going to see the girls. I got about an hour, 45 minutes time to let you see the whole kennel, check it all out, interact with some dogs, do whatever you want. No, that's perfect. That's perfect. Set up a time for 3:30. Guy shows up at 2:30. I mean, the time was set for 3:30. Says, hey, man, I'm going to sit over here in the neighbor's driveway, and we're going to sit over here and wait while you guys are taking care. So I asked them, I said, listen, I hate to do this to you guys. Do you guys mind if we get him in? I feel bad leaving a guy sit out in the car for an hour. And if I found out what I know now, I would have let him sit out for the hour. And the reason I say that is because he's explained it to some other people who he showed up at their place an hour prior. Said he likes to just come an hour prior to like look and scope and see everything going on and want to be in their business and know how they live and who comes to their house and what their house is like. Just a real wacko. Like that's
weird.
Nothing to do with getting a dog,
Super weird.
But I feel bad for people. So we brought him in, let him go through the kennel, check out all the dogs. I mean, and I asked him, I say, man, we're going to be shooting the YouTube thing. Do you want to be on this? Yeah, absolutely, man. No, I'll be on it. He was so
he said, I could sleep here.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Sleep here all the whole night, but I can leave if you need me to.
Right. Yeah, he wanted to stay. He was having a ball. Ranting and raving about the dogs, the quality of the dogs, the temperaments of the dog was the greatest stuff in the world. He was ready to leave a deposit. I said, no, man, I don't want to take a deposit. I want you to, keep looking around. When you decide you want to put a deposit, put a deposit. I don't got nothing really for you right now anyway. Now here's the catch. What he didn't already know is what he did walking down the driveway to the kennel. He was already X'd off of my list. I wasn't going to sell the guy a dog anyway, because this is the type of person that's going to talk shit about anybody and everybody. There's just people like that in the world. So, I knew that, but I'm still going to let him check out the whole kennel because he did a video. He wanted to be a movie star. Like, I'm going to show it. He reached out and doesn't want it shown, but I'm going to show it. You know what I mean? It's going to get shown. Gave the permission. You guys are going to see it. But he wanted to be a movie star. He was so good in the movie. It was like great. I'm like, when he left, I'm like, damn. I said, that guy was good. I said, he loved this shit. So wanted to be a movie star. Leaves, talks to a couple other breeders because I don't get right back to him. Talks to some other people. Get some bullshit stories fed into his brain and to his head. And he all of a sudden changed up. We wanted to let everybody know why I X'd Tony off my list. And I'm like, Whitney told me about it. I'm like, Whitney, he was X'd off my list the day we went down the kennel. Different type of dude. Not the type of guy I want to own one of my dogs. Here's the reality. And the reason I say that, I learned a lot about him. The dude lives at home with his mother. Okay. He's, I don't know, almost 40 years old, lives at home with his mom. That's not a good thing. That's a real bad sign right there. Running around, leaving for 3, 4, 5 days, going to see his brother coach in another state, leaving the dogs with his 70-plus-year-old mother. That's not an ideal situation. It's not sell him a dog. Somebody's going to feed him all the dreams and hopes that he wants. But this dude was there and telling me about how he created this whole grid of how to vet breeders and to get a dog from the best breeder and all the stuff that they should do. And started dictating and telling me, I'm like, this dude, he's a numbers guy, I guess. Well, this shit isn't like 2 + 2 = 4. This is real serious shit. You need a doctrine to do this. And what I tell people the right way, you got 10 years into this and you're just starting to learn. It's like being a doctor. You go to school for 8 to 10 years and become a doctor. This dude was a doctor in 2 weeks. He's a doctor. He knows more than me. He knows more than you do. Whitney, he'll out-train you. This dude will outdo, if he was going to be an astronaut, he'd go be an astronaut in 2 weeks, better than all the astronauts we have. Better.
Whitney and I joked about it, and
everything figured out.
And she said, "Yeah, he'd probably tell you everything that you didn't know about bodybuilding." And I said,
right,
yeah, exactly.
Years doing it,
what to do and how to eat everything, because he researched it for 2 weeks, and he's just a research guy. So people like that, nobody wants to deal with a guy like that. I mean, I've talked to several breeders that have reached out, like, dude, I'm not this guy ain't getting shit from me. One of my friends at the Brits, I'm not even calling this jackass back. You know what I mean? This guy's out there. Somebody's going to sell him a dog, and his mother's going to be left with a dog to take care of and tend to. Hopefully, he doesn't get an unstable dog which those are probably the people that are going to sell him the dream that he wants to hear and tell him all the lies he's looking to hear.
Right. Yep.
We don't lie. Whitney don't lie. Pam don't lie. Joe don't lie. I'm not a liar. I'm going to tell you like it is. So to make this long story short, so we vet our people immediately. We vet them on the phone. We vet them when they come here. I'm vetting every single person. And there's people that I brought here and vetted. And I was like, in my mind, I'm like, I'm just not going to sell them a dog for any different reason. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If they tell me that they're going to leave the dog with their children or some stuff, and, because they're going on, they vacation a lot, but they're 14 and 15-year-olds stay home and they can handle everything. They can't handle everything.
I think at the end of the day, a new owner, prospective owner, also needs to get along with the breeder.
Right, absolutely.
You're gonna have a relationship for the life of that dog.
Right,
absolutely. And I think that, I think that's important too. And you all as breeders have the right to say, no.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. We're not vibing. This isn't going to work out, and that's okay.
Right.
Yeah, as breeders, we love people to do research like that. But like, there's a such thing as overboard. You're like, you did your research, and he was trying to dictate somebody else's contract, telling them what their contract should read and how it should read and what's legal and what's not legal and what he's going to do. And I'm not going to do this if it comes to that. Go buy a dog somewhere else, man.
Right.
The woman that we're talking about, one of the nicest ladies in the breed, great.
Top notch.
Top notch. She sent him his $500 deposit back, which he signed it. It's a non-refundable deposit. Sometimes you just get people in this world that you just want to go away.
Yeah.
Here's the deposit pack. Lose my number.
Yeah, I've done it. Yeah.
I don't need your money. And that's what I always tell a lot of people at times. We don't need your money. We're okay. But that woman doesn't need that guy's money. Send him his $500. Just go away. Leave me alone. Find somebody else. And unfortunate to the person that you find. I mean, he doesn't realize it's a small world. So he's already blackballed like you couldn't imagine. And he's probably only talked to 6 or 7 or 8 breeders. He's already blackballed. He put a big post up on a page. He didn't like the answers of the top breeders. He asked about top breeders on like that American Standard page. It was like 5 people that said me. He didn't like that. Well, he's already X'd off my list. Well, what would you X him off your list for? What's wrong with you? So now to talk about like the kenneling and stuff and the kenneling setup, it's a great story to utilize him because he was gung-ho, was the greatest thing in the world, the greatest facility, cleanest could be, loved everything. 3 days later, he calls Whitney and we'll just talk about what he said to her. So it's comical almost. So when we're talking about kenneling, this is where it comes into from somebody that's very uneducated, who thinks he's extremely educated. He has zero education on dogs, raising dogs, nothing about them. He's reading a bunch of different shit in these books and stuff. So the list of questions that he was sending, we already know you didn't create any of this shit. You didn't come up with this guide. You took this out of Puppy Find, out of this website, that website. You linked it all together. And it's just like the new breeders. They linked up shit off my site, and other one site, Joe's page, and
put
now
it in Chat GPT.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think he's really looking for a gigapet, honestly.
They're number one. You know what I mean? Number one in the world. And they don't know a shit of what they're doing. It's just a scam to them. It's a money thing to them. So yeah, like Joe's called it. We vet these people too. Whitney, you vet your clients. You get calls from people you don't want to train their dog because you can tell already it's out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I actually will tell people, which I don't know. Now you got me thinking. Like, I actually will just straight up tell people, hey, you know what? Like, I just don't think we're a good fit.
Yeah, or you're just busy. You're just busy. You're booked out for 6 months.
I'm just not going to be able to get you in, but I have been just telling people, we're not a good fit.
Right? Yeah.
I've had people comment under breeders' videos mad because they wouldn't sell them a dog many times.
Really? Yeah.
Many times.
Right. Yeah.
I just tell them, man, this ain't the Google review site, bro. You know.
Here's the thing: as somebody who's purchasing a dog, I wouldn't want a dog from somebody that told me I couldn't get their dog. Like, forget you.
Right. Yeah.
I feel like it should go both ways. And I think this all kind of even leads to a lot of expectations, right? And so this guy, it has these expectations of maybe what a breeder should be, sensitive to you and your feelings and your wants and your needs and what your kennel should look like, how you should speak to them, what your contract should be, because there's all this information in his ears from the internet, from this person, from that person, all of the things combined. Those lead to these unrealistic expectations of understanding what real life kennels and breeding programs and training facilities should be like. You know,
absolutely. And Joe had a show the other night that he did with Schoolboy and
Lamont
and
Harry Cornish.
Yep. All about and maybe you could touch on that actually. All about these high-end facilities, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what does that really mean, right?
What it is there's a new wave of breeders who have came in with money from Fortune 500 companies. I mean, these dudes can sell you a dream like no other, right? And they coming in, they coming in strong, and they got the media to back them. And being that they don't have the experience, they have the money, and they're struggling. I know about their internal struggles. People send it to me. So now they're selling this thing like, well, if you're not getting dogs from us because our facilities look like this, they look like real professional dog pounds, then they're trying to bury a group of people and pick themselves up.
Right.
But
they're trying, Joe, you're right on the money. They're trying to utilize their facility that they spent $500,000 on because they're multimillionaires and they're money people, and they want to continue to make more money. And to them, when they hear numbers on our dogs, when they reached out to us to buy one, automatically goes to shit, 3,000-4,000.
Yeah,
I'm getting in this shit. I'm gonna get
that's what this is exactly what it is.
Dollar signs
but here's the thing. Here's the thing. Being that they don't know anything about breeding and they're business first, they number guys first, they get in trouble.
Right.
You know,
a bunch of garbage.
Yeah. And most of them think they're businessmen, but you wasn't nothing but managers of big business. You wasn't real businessman from the ground up, because common sense would tell you to start small.
Right.
Why would you go in over your head?
Right. There you go. Yeah, they blow $500,000.
No wonder your dogs are $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 because you don't know what you're doing. You see people starting with food trucks now instead of brick and mortars, and then build themselves up. They don't got good sense. They got book sense, but you ain't got common sense.
You got it right on the money.
But then what happens is then you got guys like this Brett, right? Who is like got it built up so far in his head that what a dog breeder should be, right? And none of it even makes sense. And none of it is even what's the word I'm looking for? Like reasonable.
It's not fathomable.
It's not fathomable.
Doesn't exist.
What we're talking about here, like with Joe, is like these, you can be bamboozled. We go to this big facility, right? For people that just have the money to put up a big facility. But when it comes to the dogs, these aren't quality dogs.
Right.
These aren't people who have developed this legendary bloodline, right? But an average dog owner goes, wow, this place is just incredible.
State of the art facility. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. They'll say, it's AKC registered.
Yeah, like here's the thing, like what you're talking about with for a boarding kennel and a boarding train, like your facility, it's off the hook. I mean, you got to have $400,000 invested in that place, and it is off the hook. And I would be my dream to have that. But here's the crazy thing. As a breeder raising dogs, and like it's not the right thing for a breeder to do, because I had an indoor-outdoor facility. Yeah. It's great for a boarding and training because you have to be able to Clorox, bleach everything, spray everything for the boarding train, because different dogs come in with viruses and different things. You have to kill everything from the stool. Everything has to be taken care of. Like there's books out there that you can read, and I've read several of the books. One of them was on like kennel management and kenneling. And it talks like, like I had a big badass indoor outdoor kennel facility at my old place. And here's an example. I'll tell you a little bit about how it works. So I ran out of room, and I was like, man, I need to put up a couple kennels. So I put up a couple 10x10 kennels outside, just with dog houses, and put a couple dogs in there all year long. I've had that for about 5 years before I sold that house. And I'm looking at my dogs that are in my indoor building, indoor outdoor, that's immaculately clean, spotless, sprayed every day, inside and outside, whether it didn't need it or not. You know what I mean? And it was spotless, beautiful. People loved it. But here's the crazy catch. The dogs outside in the 10x10 that were in gravel, those dogs looked like $1 million.
Robust.
Up, ripped to shreds. I mean, clear eyes, straight feet. I mean, and they were happy as hell. And after having that for so many years, like 5 years like that, I'm like, man, you know what? I don't think I do an indoor-outdoor building anymore. My dogs thrived, and all dogs thrive in that more outdoor, full run at all times, not locked in the inside, in a, in a little 5x10 or 5x4 inside, and a 5x10 outside. We got these bigger kennels outside that they're running, they're relieving themselves in the same certain areas. It's just they love it, man. If the dogs had a choice, that's what they do. If they were out there, like here's how I'm going to live my life for the next 9 to 13 years. If it's not in a family home and we're in a breeding program, they want to live like they're wolves and coyotes out in the wild. It's enjoyable, man. Like right now, I have 10x20 kennels for every single dog, like 10x20. Most people got 5x10s, if that, 4x8s, 10x20s. They need, but here's the catch. I have like 26 kennels. I'm never going to have more than that. So for me, I know there's people out there with 50 kennels, or I'm sorry, 50 dogs and 50 kennels. To me, that's just mass producing. That's a puppy mill. People out in California, all over Atlanta, there's guys out there doing that. Down in Southern Ohio, they got these big indoor outdoor facilities, 50 kennels, 5 different breeds. It's a puppy mill. They're not doing anything. They're not doing any hip testing, health testing. They're not showing dogs or prove them out. They got nice websites, and they're blasting them out. And that's how they have them. Now, here's the catch. On my old kennel, I think I told you this with my indoor outdoor kennel, even though it was spotless all the time, spick and span, unbelievable. Dogs' nails, they stay groomed. You don't even got to cut their nails because the cement keeps them down. So when you take those dogs out of the kennel to breed them or to play with them or whatever you were going to do, let the kids play with them, they'd stink. Your hands, you'd have this stink on your hands. I'm like, Jesus Christ, what the hell? I got orange gojo all over the place, and you got to wash them, scrub them for 2 days to get that smell out. And remember, like, my kennel's immaculate. Why does it smell like this? Well, here's what happens. They pee and poop outside. It's on cement. Yep. When you spray it, it gets in the air. The pee is in the air. It's like little humidity is getting on their coats. So the reality is it's immaculate in a kennel, but your dog's coats, it's getting on. Unless you bathe them every single day, 3 times a day, you can't beat that. Like you probably don't deal with it, because you guys you got like all your different staff, 5 people, indoor, outdoor, nonstop, taking them out, letting them run. You guys do it the right way. But these other kennels that these people have that are breeders that have those kennels, they're not doing it the right way.
Well, I got a story for you. So, I grew up, my mom bred Goldens all my life. And about, 17 years ago, I was like, Mom, we got to run these cement kennels. We're going to get these pre-fert kennels. We're going to run cement, indoor, outdoor, the whole bit, right? I sold her on the vision, right? Because all growing up, we had a big, huge kennel with limestone.
The best shit there is.
Right? So I'm like, Mom, we're gonna level up, and we're gonna get these indoor outdoor runs, the cement, pre-fert kennels. It'd be great. Roof overhead, it'd be awesome. We finished that kennel. It looked like $1 million. It was great until exactly what you're talking about.
You see right what I'm talking about.
Exactly what you're talking about. And my mom goes, should have just kept the old kennel with limestone like we did for the last 20 years.
It's crazy.
And we should have, honestly.
It doesn't make sense to people. And if you tell the story, like, it's a great thing. You have the same story and you've seen it. Your parents lived it. You lived it. If I tell that story to some people, Tony's full of shit. He just didn't want to spend another $50,000 in an indoor outdoor building. Well, here's the deal. Tony spent $20,000 just in the gravel on the ground that the dog shouldn't piss in, because
right. Yeah.
Like,
I had mine in limestone, Tony, but I'm working off a mountainside.
Okay.
So environmental plays different things. Right. So, and so like if you go up the road, I'm getting all the wash down.
Everything's washing down.
Man. So I used to have the limestone and everything. And I was like, man, it's washing my stuff away. It's getting muddy. So I didn't use cement, but because I would have all kind of permits and stuff.
Right.
So I put mine up on stages.
Okay.
Like run.
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah. So
how do you like that?
I love it because I had to get them up off the ground. I used to use limestone, but it was just too much wash. So
you don't have a choice,
and then I'm on a mountainside.
Right.
So I had to flatten out an area just for this yard. I got 1 yard behind my house and 1 yard over here. Okay. I own like a big cul-de-sac. I would say I'm up down here by myself. So environmentals play a part about it, but Yeah, and they're outside and they're dwelling, and we get them out enough to where about half of them don't even poop in there. They just we get them out enough where they just go over there and blue.
Because you're doing it the right way. Yeah, you're doing it the right
they're
way.
my kids, and you know they out there with them and stuff like that. So yeah, man, it but then with a situation like Whitney, she's been in the game a long time, and she's bored and things like that. But I think online, which is like the Matrix, is just a different world. Where people just they're doing anything to make a sale.
Absolutely, yeah.
You got to come to the state-of-the-art thing.
And using the kennel to sell their shit dogs. Their dogs
right. And what they don't understand is guys like us, Lamont, that go to guys like you and others that we know who have worked the lines a long time, instead of a lot of new guys who just shipping in dogs, selling everybody F1s. They get in trouble. They don't really know what to say. They got to look something up on the internet because they don't know about the traits of the dogs.
Got no clue what they're doing.
Yeah.
Zero.
You know, when I had issues, I could revert back to Tony. I could revert back to Lamont on things like this. And that's how you make better dogs and run better programs, because they done did the hard work.
Right. Yeah. We did it. We did it all. We went
to have a real life mentor.
Right.
I tell a lot of people the same thing you just said, Joe. I'm like, listen, you can do whatever you want to do. I'm not Jesus Christ. I'm not God. I mean, some people might think that I know that much, and I'm like the superstar of the breed and set up whatever Tony has, and people set up what I have. They're successful. But, you know, it's like I learned all that the hard way. I blew the thousands and thousands of dollars on the cement in the building, like blew a ton of money learning everything. So I tell people, I'm just going to tell you what I learned. Do whatever you want. But I learned. You want to learn the hard way, learn the hard way. And I got close friends that even tried it a different way, the way I said don't do it, and guess what they're doing now? Switching up to exactly what I got, what I told them. And they're like, man.
So if there's somebody like new watching, or maybe they just started their kennel, or they're having some issues, what would be like the ideal kennel setup? I mean, like if they could have anything, like, you know how, Joe, you kind of had to change yours according to the environment, and that's a great point, because that's something maybe somebody didn't talk about. As far as like breeding, you know, this is kind of like what's helping the dogs thrive. What's the best setup? You know, if you could just tell Tony
talked about. Yeah, the setup Tony talked about, biggest runs as you can.
And what's on the ground there?
The limestone gravel. I forget the number.
I use the number 9s. It's real small.
Yeah, right.
It's not the dust. The dust gets too hard and gets like cement, so it will hold the urine and hold the water. The number 9 is small. It doesn't mess up with the pads of their feet. It doesn't cut them. Even going to a number 8 will cut the pads of their feet, and they'll be limping around for 3 days. I mean, they'll build up like a callus to it, and they'll be okay with it. But the number 9s doesn't bother any dogs. But the nice thing about the limestone is, here's the catch, and this is what I tell people. So the way mine is set up, you know, it's dug down about 2 feet deep all the way to the clay. On the bottom of that, I use a shale rock. A shale rock, it's a long, flat rock. It's shale. It's basically busted up shale. We put that down at the bottom, about a foot of that. Then on top of that, we use a 304. Now, the 304 is the big limestone. It's wider. So what happens with that down at the bottom? It filters, right? So it filters through the big rock, and then it filters down to the shale. You know what else the shale does? It stops any dirt from coming up. Because if you just take the rock and you put it down, the limestone on dirt, the dirt's coming right up through there. I learned it the hard way. When I first moved out to the country where I'm at, I got a bunch of it. I spent probably $6,000 or $7,000 in the limestone, put it all on the dirt. And in 3 months, I didn't have no limestone. And I called one of my buddies, a guy named Roy, right down the street. He's incredible. He's the ultimate farmer. Like, this dude knows everything about everything. Roy Kohler. It's one of the biggest families in this area. Farm family. They're just great people. The whole family, the kids, everybody, and they're extremely helpful. You know, I had a fire one time that burned down, and a building burned down. I called Roy. I said, man, I need to get a bobcat. Man, can I pay to use your bobcat? He said, no, you can't. I said, oh, okay. He said, no, you can't pay me. You can come get the bobcat, and you can use it and keep it as long as you need to use it and get that cleared up, man. You're not paying for nothing. I was like, can I pay for gas? He said, no, you ain't paying nothing at all. That's a friend and family, neighbor, you know, helping you out. That's how we do things out here. So great people. But, you know, I reached out to him and said, man, my rock's all gone. You know, it's gone. What happened? He's like, you city boys don't know shit. You know what I mean? It's stone. You got to dig that shit down to the clay and you got to put some shell down at the bottom. You know, he hooked me up with another guy that was with the big construction guy with the bulldozer. He said, that's how you do it. You know, you got to do it this way. And I did it that way. I've been out here for 18 years. So all I do is I'll top it off every spring and top it off every winter. So I'll get maybe like 10 tons and Roy runs it to me. He brings it to me in his big dump, get like 10 to 13 tons every spring and 10 to 13 tons every fall. And we just top it all off because, you know, as you're cleaning the poop, you're losing it. Mm-hmm. So what else it does is it's highly acidic. It's very acidic. Fleas and ticks don't want to live in that shit.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's not just, and it's great for their feet, makes them stay up a little bit tighter on their toes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
it does so many things that are for the dog. Mm-hmm. If somebody came in and said, hey, listen, man, I got $100,000 load of cement. We overbid this job and you can have it for free. You could take it somewhere else. I'm not interested. You know, I'll try to sell it to somebody else. I'll sell it, see if I can find somebody buy it for 50 grand, but I don't want it in my kennel because it's not for a breeding kennel for me. Now, I can call Whitney and say, hey, Whitney, I got a load of cement. Let's set up some more stuff down there. Let's help you out. Let's get this down there. She's got like the ultimate facility for training and boarding. Like what she has, you have to have that. She can't do what I do. She can't have a kennel set up like mine. Her people aren't going to want to leave there for one. I'm not leaving my dog out in the kennel outside, runs gravel on the ground. I'm not going to leave him in that shit. They need that. Boarding kennels, you can't board dogs out here. I get my own family and friends call me, hey, I'm going to bring my dog out, man. I don't want to really pay a boarder. Boarding kennels like $100 a day, and I'm not paying. I was bringing them out there for free. I said, no, you won't. What do you mean I won't? You know, you're going to charge me? I said, I'm not going to charge you. Your dog will be shell shocked in my kennel. Mm-hmm. What do you mean, man? It's great. The dogs love it. I'm there all the time. My dogs love it. That's what their life has been. They grew up this and they love it. If I brought my dogs from the kennel in the house, they get me back outside. What do you got me in here for? I don't want to be stuck in here. Get me outside. I want to run. I want to enjoy my life. This is what I do. You don't bring a outside kennel dog into a home. It's not the right thing to do. They want to put their dog in my kennel so they don't have to pay. You know what I mean? And friends of mine
Whitney has a fun story about that.
Yeah, I was just telling you that when I was little, I was begging my dad, please let me bring my kennel dog because my mom's a dog breeder and the dog was out in the kennel. And Dad, please let me bring the dog inside. Please, you know, he's like, no, it's fine in the kennel. It's fine. Finally, I wore him down. He let me bring the dog inside. You know, that dog sat at the back door, miserable and depressed until I finally took it back out to the kennel because I had it inside for like a month and she was the most depressed I'd ever seen her. Take her back out to the kennel. She's happy as can be.
Oh, and it makes sense. And it'll work flip-flop. You take a house dog that's been raised in the house, been a family dog the whole time, and throw it out into the kennel. It's going to be out there whining, get me the hell out of this.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing that I can say about both aspects of that because I've seen it. Like, you know, I've taken dogs and we've taken kennel dogs and brought them into a home, trained them up. Whitney's trained them up. Mike Caparicci's trained them up. And with training and getting them used to it, they'll adapt incredible. They'll be great family dogs and great house dogs. So you still could do that. Same thing with taking the house dog and putting it out in the kennel. It'll whine a little bit for like 3 days. And then when it's running around with the ones next to it and realize, hey, man, this shit's pretty cool. You know, I'm good out here. I don't want to go back in the house. You go try to get it and bring it back in the house. Get me the hell out of here. Get me out there. My opinion, if any dog in the world in any breed, you know, of a larger breed has a choice of where it would be, I think they'd be out in the kennel. A big 10 by 20 run. I think they would choose that and still want to be part of the family. They'd want you to come get them out. Like, you know, I have a big run. My whole kennel is all fenced in, stockade all around the kennel. Then I have a second section where I bring people into that's another section of stockade. I have like 3 securities, you know what I mean, that if dog would get out, it's not getting out of the kennel for one. If it does get out of there, then it's getting into another security. Then if it gets out there, it's stuck in my backyard. It's another security. It's all fenced in. Mm-hmm. So 3 different levels of that. But they would choose to be out there. And, you know, we bring them out all the time, let them run in the backyard. Matter of fact, when Whitney and Pam came up, we had like, who we bring out? Grinch. And it was rainy and wet and muddy, and we still brought them up. But the nice thing is, so that's another story I want to tell. So that other guy that we were talking about the kenneling thing, well, he tells her, yeah, you know, I just kind of X'd him off. You know, the other thing was, you know, he didn't take any of the dogs out with me. And Whitney says to him, well, did you ask?
You asked and we told you no? Because I didn't hear you ask.
Right.
Goes, because I didn't ask.
Yeah. And I told him, hey, Soph. Hey.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think he just expected
my kids upstairs. It sounds like there's like a buffalo upstairs running through the house. Did you guys hear that? Sound like thunder?
No, I didn't hear it. Can I say something right quick before you change gears, Miss Pam? I've been podcasting long enough to know somebody gonna say, "Oh, they is against concrete." Hey, but even if you do concrete, Tony, you might need to explain to them the method of doing it the right way, sloping, and
yeah. Concrete is great. I mean, reality is, here's the thing. Would I love to have my setup with the concrete? I would love it. I would love to have what like Whitney has and what these kennels have. I just know when you're breeding dogs and they're in it all the time, it's kind of brutal on them. You know what I mean? But except for like yourself, like Joe, you have some concrete. Whitney, you have some concrete, but you guys getting these dogs out the proper way. They're getting the proper time out. That's the difference. So when I explain about these bigger kennels, these these to me kennel meal facilities or puppy mill facilities, they don't get out of there. They're on this shit 24/7.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, they're not getting out.
They don't get out of there, and they're in a 4x10 at the most, 5x10 at the most. There's no room to exercise. So what I was explaining to what I've seen in my own kennel, my dogs are in that kennel because it was 5x4s inside and 5x10s outside. You think, oh, that's plenty of room. It ain't plenty of room. So they can't run. They can't even get their full stride. They can't get their muscles popped, their muscles developed. Put them in a 10x20 kennel. It don't matter if the dog's 180 pounds. That 20 feet of run, that's a lot of running. And my dogs, people sometimes see my dogs at the show or come here, man, what kind of food are you feeding? I'm feeding a good dog food. What do you supplement? I ain't supplementing shit. Well, why not? Because if I got to supplement, the food's garbage. So there's nothing wrong with supplements. There's a lot of good supplements out there that that I would recommend to my families. But with me, as crazy as it sounds, I want to be more of that hardcore guy. And when I say hardcore, I'm running a breeding program. So I'm breeding dogs that I don't want to sell you a dog that you have to put on this supplement or have to put on that supplement, because it's not saying nothing about my genetics of my breed. There was some supplement many years ago that was some shit about hip dysplasia. They had some proven thing that if you give the supplement, it wipes out hip dysplasia. You won't get hip dysplasia. I'd have to look it up and see what it was. This is probably 20 years ago. And it was real. I seen the studies. They did it on beagles where they raised some dysplastic beagles. They used 2 dysplastic beagles to have a litter, raised puppies on it with none of this supplement. And the dogs, 70% of them had hip dysplasia. Raised another litter, the same parents on this supplement, and nobody had hip dysplasia. So here's the catch. Is that a great thing? That's an incredible thing. Could you recommend that to everybody out there? Absolutely. There's some of that shit's in people's contracts that you have to give it.
Yeah, it is.
In the contract, because it's going to wipe that shit out. And even if it was going to have it, it ain't going to have it. With me, like I tell people, well, you got to use none of that shit. And if you're running a breeding program, I'd actually prefer you not to. And they're like, well, why? Because I don't want you to mask what's there genetically. Because if we use that, we're masking genetically what's going to be there. I want you to know what my dog's hips are going to be. I don't want it masked. That's all great stuff, especially for the family owner, the pet owner. If it was going to be there, it's never going to be there. That's incredible. But as a breeding program, if I did that and I use that and I get all my dogs' hips and they're great, it doesn't mean that I'm producing off of all great hip dogs. If I'm using a masking agent, that's what I call it, like a masking agent.
Right.
Mask it. I don't know what I'm working with, and it's not fair to the client. What's fair for me to the client is to not use that stuff. You know what I mean? Tell them they can use it, but if you're going to breed, then you might want to wait till 2 years of age. Let's see what you genetically got in the hips, then throw them on it. It's okay.
Right.
I'm just more of that hardcore breeder. And I've learned that, in growing with all the dogs. Like seeing other breeders that are using this or using that, or I don't let them go up steps at all. They don't go up steps for 2 years. You don't let them go up steps for 2 years.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Right.
Trying to hide. You know what I mean?
Tony, you since you're a perfectionist, and a good breeder breeds like Mother Nature. Exactly. If Mother Nature know how to take care of the dogs and they do well, it's your responsibility to do it well, do it the right way too.
100%, man. 100%. With that said, Joe, there's another thing that I probably talked to you about a long time ago, Joe, because you're in the breed and you're learning different lines. There's lines out there that they can't take care of their own puppies. Like, I told you, they got to hand raise. These people have been hand raising their puppies for 20 years. I told those same people with those lines, you better get out of that shit. That is a what's the word? Oh shit.
A trait?
It's weak genetic. It's weak. It's a trait. It's not going away. It's autoimmune disorder. That's what it is. Autoimmune disorder, when these people got to hand raise their puppies and none of their moms could take care of their puppies. I said it 20 years ago, 20-some years ago, and guess what? Those same people, guess what they're still doing 20 years later? Hand raising their puppies.
Yeah.
If I had a mother that I had to hand raise the puppies, guess what happens to her? She's
Pet
fit,
home.
pet home, free to good home. Here we go. You'll
Mhm.
never produce again in my facility, in my kennel, because what she produces is going to continue. All them dogs out of her, people are going to be hand raised, and these people those are experts. Those people, if we brought them on the show, they'd never come on and admit it. But if we brought them on the show, we can learn from them, and we can have them teach everybody how to hand raise puppies, because that's what they've been doing for 20 years. It takes their life away, and to them, it's it's all about the money. I'm not selling dogs to people. Joe's not going to sell dogs to people. None of us top breeders are going to sell dogs to people. That you have to hand raise your puppies. When you're talking to these people, that should be your red flag of getting a dog from them. That's weak genetics. That's autoimmune disorder. I'm not like Whitney's mom whelps several of my litters. You think I would do that to her mother? Hey, take this dog, whelp this litter. And by the way, you got to spend like 18 hours in there, and you got to keep getting up every 2 hours because you got to hand raise them, because my lines are garbage. My lines can't take care of their puppies. They're weak immunity. Hell no.
Also, from a dog trainer perspective, the dogs that I see, because I train the Publix dogs too, of all breeds. When I get puppies in that have been hand raised, they didn't get enough time being raised by their mother, by the other litter mates. You see it. Their characters and their dispositions and temperaments are not as solid as a puppy who is raised by its natural mother.
Sure.
Right.
The way that Mother Nature intended and is supposed to be.
Yeah.
So you even see it come out that way, just in a puppy, in the mentality of the puppy.
Right. I had a podcast the other day where the IOBEA Bulldog, Tony Clay, the
Good
Tony
dude,
Clay show.
real good dude.
Yeah. The president of the Breed Club hopped on that podcast, and I know his father from down the road, and his father told me one thing that always stuck with me. He said, one thing a good breeder must have is discipline.
Right. Absolutely.
And patience, right? And patience.
Right.
I remember when I was getting a Baymax, and I was a new dog owner. I was excited, and we were talking about puppies, and we were going through different litters because I waited a while to get him. And I remember Tony was like, one litter. It's like, oh, well, this is not the puppy for you yet, So we waited another litter, and this for any potential dog owner too that's kind of looking for dogs. Just wait it out. I promise it's worth it. Listen to the breeder. Let him help you pick the puppy. And he said, listen, you got to have patience. If I didn't have patience in this, I wouldn't have the program that I do.
Yeah.
And I was like, touche, but it makes sense. Like, everybody's excited, as you guys have dogs all the time. Somebody that's just getting their first dog in a long time is just excited. Like, and he's like, it's fine. We'll get there. You just got to be patient with me.
And it paid off.
I did. And, so you do have to have that patience in that too. And like you said, kind of getting your proper bloodlines and taking out the dogs that aren't taking care of their puppies. And I don't think anybody thinks about those kind of behind the scenes thing. And this kind of brings it back to like, the expectations of the average dog owner, or like we talked about, Whitney and I just yesterday, talking about getting ready for this episode, and how some people they just want that Christmas puppy, right? It's just coming out Christmas. I want to get this Christmas puppy. And then they have dogs at pet stores. And there's a lot of people who just really think you just call up a breeder and say, hey, can I come look at your kennel? And then you're going to have like these nice, like, plexiglass, like, facilities, and you just go look at the puppies, because can see. And that leads to is, Whitney's facility looks different because she trains dogs that live in homes, and, and they feel comfortable there. They're in a dog, setting, of course, and, and crates and whatnot. But she has to have that set up because, like to Tony's point, not a lot of people would bring their dogs to her facility if it looked like a breeder's kennel, because that's not how their dogs are raised. So they're two separate things, but just the expectations of, of people in general. Joe, I wanted you to talk about that a little bit. You and I talked before I had Baymax. I think I was waiting for him to just grow. And we talked a little bit, and there was a story. Somebody had posted a dog they got from Petland or something of that sort, a Corso. And I said, I can't believe this. And you said you had spoke to some breeders, or you knew some people that kind of got puppies for these pet stores. Was that right? I remember we talked about that a little bit. You had talked to some of these people that did that, or was that a different conversation?
Do I?
You know, like,
I'm kind of smoky on that story, but maybe it was something about. I do know pet store owners.
yeah, pet store owners. That's what it was,
Yeah,
and how they
yeah,
select
like
their
pet
puppies.
leg. Yeah,
Yeah, because I'm like,
I
how
know.
can you even be around? And you're like, they actually do kind of try to make sure that they have decent dogs.
Well, I'll be honest. Yeah, I'll be honest
Mhm.
with it. Even though there are dogs running up there,
Mhm.
I'm living over here in Missouri. It's a lot of dogs bred over here in my area. Like
Mhm.
I can go get my food, my kibble. Shoot, even I'm the dude that delivered the lungs and hearts of dog food plants. A lot of people don't know that.
Okay.
In an 18-wheeler, you know, Joe got skills. I can do it all. You know what I mean?
Who's your man?
Yeah, so it's a lot of dog breeding in this area, rabbit breeding. You know, they use rabbit for vaccinations. They use the eyes, every part of the animal. But yeah, I know they're looking, but I know a lot of people that own these pet stores and whatnot, and they actually go through more rigorous processes than what you think they do.
What I think, yeah, because I would
Yeah.
imagine it wasn't that great. I mean, I personally wouldn't go.
No, they actually like what the level of how Tony's talking. The kennels got to be. The dogs got to be happy. In order to be happy, they usually breed good. They have to be trained, but and all this stuff. And so it ain't even the pet stores. The pet stores deal with regular breeds. Now I know y'all don't like to hear that.
We want to hear it all. But that's what this is
but the
for.
protocol that you think they're not doing that, you'll be surprised because I know them.
Yeah, here's the crazy thing. I can comment on that too, Joe. So what he's talking about, as crazy as it is, a lot of these pet stores, not all of them, but a lot of them, they have a really high standard
They do.
they have to buy by, and they have a bunch of I's and T's they got to cross per their standard and their laws that they have to follow. So
That
they
makes
do
sense.
go out and they do research, and a lot of them do buy it, like even up here from like a lot of the Amish breeders. So we watch all those TV shows that you see that show all these terrible, horrible Amish breeders. That's not the case. The case is some Amish breeders, just like a lot of the U.S. breeders in this country that breed these dogs, are horrible. But there's a lot of them that are just like me, just like Joe. They're like really OCD on their program. They want to cross every I, dot every T, and make sure the dogs are healthy, make sure their temperaments are great. Their children are involved with these dogs when they're raising them. Remember, they don't watch TV. They don't do the things that we do. So they buy from a lot of them. Even myself, I'll make you guys laugh. So my daughter wanted a bird, a parakeet. You know, I had parakeets a couple of times for my son. Dude, I buy them at the pet store. They're trying to bite your fingers off and make you bleed. Who wants this shit? So I went to a pet store the one time called Bo's Pet Shop, and they got some parakeets, and they look real tame. I'm like, man, let me ask you a question. You guys hand raise these birds there? I mean, you guys, they look like they want to come to me. Though, put your hand in there.
I know that pet shop. I know exactly what you're going to say.
Put your hand in there, little bird crawls right up on my finger. I'm like, man, you can pull it out. I said, I can pull it out. It's going to fly away. No, it's not. I'm like, where do you get these at? You guys raise them? No, we get them from the Amish. I said, you get these from the Amish? They're like, yeah, the Amish people, they let their children raise them. They learn everything about breeding and stuff with raising parakeets when they're young and raising different animals, rabbits, and they spend time with them all day. They're hand raised. And I said, this is amazing. We still have the bird to this day. And the kids were here last night. A bunch of kids and people were here playing with the bird, had it out. And they're like in amazement that the parakeets. And then we got another one in the same pen that came from a pet store. I said, go ahead and try to grab that one. We'll try to rip your finger off. And it will. It's like buying a dog from some of these breeders and buying a dog from us. You know what I mean? One's going to be stable, mentally sound. The other one's going to try to rip your head off.
I just brought that up. Just so kind of expectations.
They're not all bad. You know, the pet stores are not all bad. Would we recommend it as breeders? No, they're not going to. Here's the thing. They're not going to ever have our kind of quality in a pet store. It's not going to happen because people like us, we're not going to sell to a pet store. So and it's not a knock on the pet store. They're in business to make money. They're not trying to buy a dog off any of me or Joe or Whitney trained for $4,000 or $6,000 or $10,000. They're trying to buy a dog to somebody that's willing to sell that dog for $600, so they can pay all their fees that they got to pay on it and tie up another $400 in it, and they want to have $1,000 in that dog and still sell it for $5,000 or $6,000.
Yeah.
They want to make profit. So they do go through a little bit of a ritual sometimes. Sometimes I've seen dogs in public that were pretty nice dogs, decent looking, decent temperament. And I asked some people, where did the dog come from? I got it at Petland. I'm like, really? Holy shit, that's crazy. And then, then I see another dog, trying to bite somebody unstable as hell. You get it? I got it at Petland. So, these pet stores here's the difference between a pet store owner and us. We know temperament. We know everything about the dogs. We know what we're looking for. The pet store owners don't know what to look for 100%. They're going to try.
And I think that just kind of leads to like the general public thinking I can just go to a pet store. Now, I would never even think to get a Corso at a pet store because I personally, again, want my breeder to pick the dog out for me. I will stress that. I will stand on that hill until the day I die.
We'll never recommend that. Even Joe knows people, we're not going to recommend it. He's not going to tell somebody. I'd never recommend go buy from a pet store, but we got to give them a little defense that they try to authorize across to the best of their ability. But, it's a pet store. They sell multiple animals, not just dogs. They sell dogs, cats, birds, fish, ferrets, iguanas and shit. Their goal is to make major profit on all these animals. And their goal is to continue to sell you the food to feed all those animals they sell. If you talk to a lot of these pet store owners, they'll tell you it's not just about the profit on the birds, because sometimes or the fish or whatever, because they won't make a ton of money on that. It's the money they're making, the major money they're making on all of the food to feed them, all of the tanks, all of the water care. They make a fortune on that.
That have dogs are very far few in between. Like there's none around us. Like my area.
And the reason is it's too much work. It's too much work. It's too much work.
Yeah. Right.
You do it the right way. It's too much work for them. And here's the other thing. When they have a pet store, if they have dogs, guess what dogs do all day long, every day? Shit like crazy.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Whitney's laughing. Whitney's going to say, she knows why I'm saying it. So getting back to, again, people and facilities and stuff like that. People off. So I told Whitney, well, I think I was just going to X Tony off. After he did a video where the dogs were the greatest in the world and the kennel was the most immaculate.
We could stay the night there.
He could sleep in the kennel and play with these dogs all day on video. And we have the video. We should get a clip of it and show it right now of him saying all that. So he told Whitney, well, there were some kennels and, they had some poop in them. And Whitney said,
some feces.
Well, yeah, they poop. Yeah. That's what dogs do.
I said, well, Brett, dogs poop.
Right.
Well, so here's the deal. So all of my adult dogs, they might go once or twice a day. And I told him my nephew comes around 4:00. Well, he wanted to come earlier. So he was there. Well, he was supposed to be there at 3:30. He showed up at 2:30, an hour early to check everything out. So, it was the end of the day. So if there was 2 poops in one of the adults, it wasn't all stepped in or smeared around, because I don't even keep dogs that step in their own shit. I'm that anal. So, there was shit in all the kennels. There's going to be shit. This is what they do. We go to the bathroom. Unfortunately, Brett, guys like Brett, Karens and shit like that, you can't put a toilet in every single kennel and keep the dog to jump on it, flush the toilet.
But you say there's not little magic poop elves that come and pick up
if we could do that, if we could train dogs to go shit in the toilet and put a toilet in every kennel, there'd be a multi-million breeders, because the reason that breeders don't breed, the reason that people that get involved in this get out of it fast as they got in it, is because dogs shit. It's crazy as it sounds. They shit, it stinks in the kennels and big indoor facilities. It stinks like you couldn't imagine, even though it's spotlessly clean, because the dogs are reeking. In a kennel like mine, as crazy as it is, and I mentioned it to that guy, I said, you see how many dogs I got? You'll never smell urine. You'll never smell shit here unless you're standing next to it. It just came out of the dog. Guess why? The limestone.
Yeah.
The limestone. It's a natural decomposer. There's no smell. Like Joe, when you came up, 26 kennels is what I have. I'll never have any more than that. You guys come up multiple times. You ever smell shit or piss?
No. You ain't supposed to get out of nobody's yard.
No.
And smell ammonia.
No, exactly. There you go. Or nobody's house or basement. A lot of these
yeah.
Like this guy, the funny thing is, this Karen dude, this Brett, he was looking for a dog. Really, it had to come out of a house, and the nails had to be clipped perfect, and they had to be manicured and shit. Like he was looking. That type of dude is a dude that should go get a poodle.
That's what I said. I think he wants a gigapet.
He should have a poodle. You know what I mean? Because a poodle, he should have the dog that somebody takes and gets the nails done and shit like that, and you clip it and you put some mascara on it and shit. That's what he was looking for in a dog. But they shit too. You know what I mean? For anybody,
Right.
He would hate a poodle because you have to groom it.
I called my mom before this episode. My mom bred golden retrievers for 30 years since I was 6 years old. So I called her and I said, hey, you have anything that think we should bring up in this episode, that kind of thing. I have this written down. She said, yes, the audience needs to know for every puppy that eats, a little puppy, we're not talking about an adult dog, we're talking about a little puppy that eats one meal, it's going to poop about 2 to 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have the whole puppy pen with 10 little puppies, 10 cute little puppies playing in their perfectly clean little puppy pen. And then you can walk out of the room and go into town, go to the grocery store, run some errands, come back 5 hours later. And you're going to have, three little puppy piles times 10 puppies.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
In that pen. So if you are, and this is really, really important because I lived this life, and the average dog owners have no clue that piece of it. It's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
So when you leave and you come back 4 or 5 hours later and you open that door, you got another gigantic mess to clean up. And it might look as though that puppy pen hasn't been cleaned for 2 days. And that is so far from the reality and so far from what actually is occurring. And I know that because I lived that for my whole life.
Right.
Like where I'd bring a friend in, hey, you want to come see the puppies? And I'd be like, listen, I just cleaned this thing literally 4 hours ago.
Right.
Yeah, they shit. It's just what they do.
That's what
Another
they do,
thing with some people like that. So he also made a comment. His comment to her too was another comment. Well, a lot of their nails were a little longer than I would like, and they weren't really manicured perfect. And so here's the thing. If you had this issue, you should have addressed it then. You could have asked me. So here's the catch. So to address something like that, do I cut all my dog's nails that are outside in these runs totally short as hell where there's no nail really? Absolutely not. I never will. And why won't I? Some people would say, why wouldn't you cut them like that? They're outside. It's going to rain. It's going to snow in the winter. It's going to rain in the summer. So if you have your nails on your dog cut all the way down there, there's just pads, and they're running in the rain and they go to stop, guess what happens? They slip.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it happen. It's happened to me. Torn ACL, blow a shoulder out. A serious injury, you know what I mean? Break an ankle. You're spending thousands of dollars to fix it. So when you have a dogs in a kennel facility like that, you shouldn't do that. You should not cut their nails down short like that because it works against the dog's health and against the dog's, what's the word called? Like the better nature for the dog. The dogs have nails in the wild for a reason to use for grip. You know what I mean? If they're going to slip, that nail plants, they plant that nail and now they're not slipping anymore. So I would never have my dog's nails like that. So a guy's going to talk about my nails were a little longer than like, you're calling that hygiene. He used the word hygiene. That's what he used. Told the other person that about hygiene. I laughed my ass off. And so what was so comical with this is he X'd me off because of the hygiene of my dogs. There was some shit in the kennels and there was a little bit longer nails, and that's hygiene. But didn't pay attention to how ripped up and muscled up and perfectly straight and clear their eyes were and healthy all the dogs were. And, and if he really looked at the shit and he wanted to learn about dog breeding, the shit was all nice and solid and firm, which means I got some healthy ass dogs. Wasn't a bunch of sloppy, nasty mashed potatoes, none of that shit. So healthy as hell. But the guy's going to talk about my hygiene. He X'd me off. And I actually, I had, it just kind of burned my ass a little bit because of the ignorance and the arrogance of a guy like that. So I actually had to be polite and kind and send him a message back. I sent him a text message because he wouldn't call me on the phone and wouldn't answer. Sent him a text message yesterday. I said, listen, man, it's no disrespect. I'm trying to look out for you because at this point, you could be a man like me and my friends, but I just wanted you to know if you were one of my really good friends and I knew I can talk to you openly like we're talking now, dude, I would have busted your balls so hard about them nose hairs you had sticking out of your nose. I was almost laughing talking to you. I wanted to tell the dude, trim that shit. They sell these little things in Walmart or Rite Aid that you put in there and trim all that shit.
Right.
So I said,
Whitney.
if you're going to talk about the hygiene of my dog
Where
because
are they?
the nails are a little long and you're Xing me, I got it. And I told him, I said, I wasn't going to X you out of my possible client because you had nose hair sticking out. Your hygiene was terrible. I wasn't going to X you for that reason.
Man, you need to cut these doggone toenails, man.
Like, I mean, I couldn't stop looking. Like, dude, if I knew him for a little longer, I'd have been like, it was one of my boys, you know, or one of my friends, or somebody in my family. Hey, man, you better get your ass to the back. You got like 2 nose hairs sticking out of each nose. You go get that shit trimmed up. It looked terrible. This guy's going to places trying to be taken serious as some breed expert. Your hygiene was terrible. You know,
that's Tony. That's Tony's OCD coming out. Staring.
It was funny as hell, man. It was funny as hell. Yeah, I mean, we had a ball. I've been having a ball with this guy for the last couple of days. So, you know, sometimes you can't get offended by somebody like that. You just got to make it a joke and have fun with it, man.
He had no idea the fire he was walking in. No idea.
Oh, he had no idea. No idea. So, you know, I enjoyed it. You know what I mean? I enjoyed it.
Let me ask you one more question about the kennels and the breeding really quick, is whelping litters. So, you know, and that's something else that a lot of people will ask, because, you know, you said you have Whitney's mom whelp some litters, and some breeders choose to whelp their own litters. So talk about the pros and cons of maybe whelping your own litter. Obviously, I've talked to you about this a little bit, but let's just share. And then, you know, what's the benefit of having somebody else that, you know, whelps litters for a living or helps people?
Do you want me to go, or Joe, do you want to talk about this a little bit?
I'll go first, because I always like to let Jordan end the game. Let me get my shit out the way. So we whelp our own litters. My wife, she does a beautiful job with it. Schooled by Lamont, daughters, and his ex-wife is who we went to learn how to do it. A lot of it is about calming down. When you first start, calm down, and things like that. So being that she stay at home, she's a stay-at-home mom. I don't hire people to do the whelping for me, and we probably have about, since we're a small program, 3 litters maybe a year. I got to get some more stock. I just did a breeding with Lamont, so for our next generations of dogs. And that's something else I want to give a tip to people. Man, if you can find you a good breeder, work off them, and it'll save you a lot of pain. And if you don't got a lot of room, you can use their studs and things like that, and be phenotypically in good shape, and, you know, just have that support system. But as far as whelping, I'll make sure you do it like online. Get that experience. It's a lot of people don't have the experience of whelping and things like that, but it makes a difference in knowing things. Even with studding, the time I studied with Tony when he had Rambo with him, I used him, and he checked on me. He asked me, "Did you do this? All right, did you do this?" And something I didn't know. He said, "Well, you should do it next time. Make sure you do that." Even if he's a stud guy, he should be able to walk you through the whelping process. You know what I'm saying? Because he want to make sure his stud did the right thing. How many puppies did you get? 10. Okay, good. And he just give you tips along the way. You know what I mean? So that's my thing. Now, Jordan, maybe
So
you might say LeBron.
Hey, I'll take Jordan instead of Brett any day, man.
You whelp your litters at home, though, but your wife whelps the litters. So, you know, so that's something that she actually does, though. You know what I mean? So it's not just
it's a family thing. My kids can do it. Everybody. Me.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's hands on with Joe. It's him, his kids, it's everybody involved.
Yeah.
In it. It's not just wife's doing the majority bulk. I know what you mean, Joe.
Right.
It's a family thing. So what Joe's doing and what Joe said he did, it's the greatest way in the world, especially when you're just getting in. That's absolutely what you should do. So with me, remember, I got 37 years in, and what I tell people is, for my first 15 years, I whelped all my own litters. I whelped the litter in the living room. I whelped the litter in the kitchen at the same time. After 15 years, I put a building up, big building, and that building was just to do my whelping, not a kennel building. My kennel was down at the back. I put a 30 by 40 building up, was just for whelping litters.
Yeah,
I could do it the right way to get it out of my house, because it takes your life over when you're doing it at that type of level. So what Joe's talking about, he's learning everything about those dogs that he breeds. He's learning the temperament and character on every puppy from the time the babies are 2.5, 3 weeks old and start banging around, scrapping with each other. You can see it at those ages. You know what you got in that box, and you watch it, and you watch it at 4 weeks, at 5 weeks, at 6 weeks, it's different every single week up to 8 weeks, and it continues. But he's learning it the right way, hands on. So what we're talking about is like, Joe, we were talking about these big breeders that are coming in with $500,000 and spending a bunch of money. They're not even whelping their own litters. They're just buying some shit, don't know what they bought, sending it out because somebody's willing to take their money to pay somebody to whelp. That really, most of those people don't even know what they're doing. Like, like for me to have somebody whelp my dogs, they have to be a superstar, a rock star at whelping. And I had to have seen that. If I don't know that and haven't seen that, you're not whelping my litters. I got people that beg me to whelp litters all the time. I'm not giving them to these people. So I did the same thing for the first 15 years. It was hands-on. So that's one thing I get criticized for to this day. Like even like that guy, Brett, I get criticized. Well, he doesn't even whelp his own litters. I got 15 years hands-on all of my puppies. And even though I don't whelp them all right now, and I haven't for probably a good 15 years, I go house to house, visit, talk to them, work with them, do the shots, do the worming, play with them, check out the temperaments. I still know everything that's going on in my litter boxes, whether that litter box is at my house or at Whitney's mom's house or at Kelly's house or at Barb's house. I've had some of the best whelpers to me in the world. Barb Vick, who is from up in Cleveland, she worked for Dr. Hutchison. She was Dr. Hutchison's one of his main reproductive women in there that worked with him for 40 years. She's retired. She's the best I ever had in my entire life. She was a godsend to me. Without Barb Vick, my kennel doesn't continue. Without Whitney's mother, Kelly, any of these other people that I work with, my kennel doesn't continue. Without my nephew, Tony, my kennel really doesn't continue. This kid does it all. He knows it all. Like he's a young kid, 26 years old, 27 years old now. He knows more than 90% of your breeders throughout the country. He'll watch shit and send me shit laughing his ass off. He's like, dude, these people are just gone with all kind of shit. This kid could whelp. He can do it all hands on. He'd be dangerous. Like I'm not threatened by anybody out there. But if my little nephew said, hey, man, I don't like you anymore, man. We're not going to get along, which would never happen. He's like my second son. You know what I mean? That's how close we are. But, if he decided to say, hey, man, I'm going to go my own way, Tony Scandy's in trouble.
Yeah.
I taught him everything, he knows it all. And he's badass with it all. And he loves what he does. He doesn't have to do this stuff. I don't pay $1 million. He does it because he loves it. He does it because he knows it helps me, and he loves the dogs. That's the difference. You get a lot of these big facilities. There's no love of the dogs there.
Right.
Whelpings, raising, it's all about money to these people. It's nothing to do with love of the dogs. If you don't love what you do, everybody on here loves what we do, or we wouldn't do it. If it was about money, trust me when I tell you, I could go make way more money selling cars, selling houses. I like those things. If I didn't do this, those are the things that I would go do. Only other thing in life that I would love to do beyond this, beyond the dogs that I'm doing, would I love to have been playing professional baseball or boxing. That's it, nothing else. And I still play both of those. I still do the boxing and I still play baseball, fast pitch hardball, and coach the kids and help. So I'm doing everything in my life that I love to be doing, and it's just how it's going to be. I love these dogs. I love to do this. I'm competitive in everything I do. We want to be number one. We're going to work hard, strive hard. So, the question with you with the whelping yourself is the only way to do it for the first many years, in my opinion, because you have to learn your program. You have to learn what you're doing. You have to know how to whelp. Like Joe said, I called him and I call everybody. Same thing. Hey, man, you do this, you do that. How do you got it set up, man? How do you get the whelping pen set up? And I tell people ahead of time before their litter's coming, my job as a breeder, when I'm studying to people all over the world, and I study to people all over the world, my job is to get them a nice litter, 8 to 12 puppies, 14 puppies, whatever, not 2 to 4 puppies because I don't know what I'm doing and you didn't time it right because, you don't know what you're doing or the breeder you worked with didn't know what you're doing. It's to get you a big litter and to make sure that you're whelping those properly and raising them up so that those puppies thrive and you have 10 to 12 puppies at the end of that litter that are healthy as hell, that their temperaments are great. And, here's what I tell people too. Some people you'll hear, and Whitney's heard it, and Joe, you've heard it, Pam, you probably heard it already. Some people will try to tell you when they're selling all these unstable puppies and unstable dogs, they'll blame it on the owner that bought the dog. Well, you didn't do it right. You didn't raise it right. It's what you're doing. It is not what you're doing. Genetics, temperament is genetic as hell. We'll see it in that whelping pen. We know when these dogs are 8 weeks old, 10 weeks old. Now, granted, once in a while, something's going to maybe sneak out that we didn't see it at 8 to 10 weeks or whatever. You didn't see it. It changed as it got a little older. But for the most part, I stand behind Timber on every dog that leaves here. Joe stands behind Timber on every dog that leaves there. There's a reason. We know what we're working with. And if you get a dog from somebody like us or an ethical breeder like us, or something from you as a trainer, Whitney, we don't want you stuck with something that's a problem. We're going to tell you, let's get that dog back. Let's get that dog put down. I'm giving you a replacement. We got to get you taken care of. A lot of these other breeders, they ain't standing behind shit. All they do is tell you about how you messed it up. It's all your fault. And they have these people, I talk to innocent people all the time, who these breeders have thinking that it was their fault. They just, I let the dog down. I said, let shit down. Hold on a minute. Stop. I know the breeder you got the dog from. He or she is a piece of shit. They sold you a basket case unstable dog from unstable parents, and they don't give a shit about you. They're going to make every excuse possible. And half of them have a contract that's it's a non-disclosure that if you talk about it, you're not getting a replacement or anything anyway. So, I mean, that's the kind of contracts that are out there. That's the kind of people that are out there. They don't know what they're whelping. These new people with these big facilities don't know what they're breeding. They don't know what they're sending out to people's homes. And they're cracking people's heads for twice as much as me and Joe charge for puppies that you shouldn't give $200 for because they got a good Instagram or a good TikTok or some shit. So Joe's doing the shit the right way. Learn from Lamont, who does things the right way. Hand raising them in your own home with your facility. But, you know, when you get to a level like myself, I have 20-something dogs. I can't raise them all myself.
Can't do everything. Yeah.
And you and I spoke about that a little bit, actually, a few times. And, you know, and it just gets to a point where your business does expand and you're able to give these other people jobs. And, you know, and for me, that's a beautiful thing, you know, is to other people get to do what they love and you still get to be part of it, you know? So I think, like you said, you kind of get to a point. So, well, as long as you have the proper whelpers, not like you're just throwing a litter at somebody and not, you know, tending to them at all.
You have to have proper whelpers.
I think that people want to know about that. Yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah. No, it's big key. So, yeah. So even if people get involved in this, people that are new getting involved in it, the reality is, like Joe said, I would tell you, and Joe's a perfect example, do it yourself. If you're going to get involved in this and you're not going to raise litters yourself, get the hell out now. Because you're not in for any other reason than making money and capitalizing on a wonderful breed. And you're going to breed a bunch of garbage and a bunch of unstable shit and put it out there because you're only in it for the money. There's what I tell people. You know, if I told you I didn't make money, I'd be lying to you. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you, oh, I don't make money. I only give 80 hours a week to this shit. It's my life from morning to night. And I'm not supposed to make shit. It's a terrible sin that Tony's making money from this stuff.
I'm
making money on something I love to do. But with the money that I'm making sure that every client of mine is extremely well taken care of, that their dogs are well taken care of, that they're getting a very high quality animal. And that's my job. Like guys like Brett, he can go through all these I's and T's or whatever, you know, to this, cross this off. I'm going to probably meet every one of those expectations in reality. But in his eyes, I might not meet his expectation because my dog shit in the kennel and I didn't clean it up. I wasn't out there with a scooper to clean up every shit as fast as they shit because I don't have 24 hours a day because that's what it would take. You know what I mean? Or I'm not going to trim my nails down to his liking because Brett doesn't know jack shit about dogs or a kennel or nothing about them or running or slipping. He doesn't know jack shit about it. So Brett can go somewhere else because my dog's nails are a little longer than he would like them. Well, your nose hairs are longer than I would like, but I'm not going to make you a client. You know what I mean? So it's just people like that are just so far fetched and out there. It's comical. You know what I mean? And you know, and I hate to keep laughing about the guy, but I've been doing this 37 years. The one woman in Kent has been doing it, I think, over 15. And you know, it's a really hard, rough thing when you say 37 years. He's a superstar. He's the funniest client I've ever had in 37 years. That, you know, it's like, we're not going to sell to this guy, but a lot of people I'm not going to sell to, but comical, like to think that he's an expert. He got it all figured out. What he's going to figure, like we always talk about it, Joe, breeders get involved and they think they know it all till after 10 years involved, they figure out in 10 years that, man, I didn't know a goddamn thing.
Right.
So this guy's involved for, you know, 2 weeks to 2 months. He's going to figure it out in probably another 2 months. God damn, I didn't know a damn thing.
If he's humble enough, maybe not.
He's not maybe not that humble, you know what I mean? But but you know, we're gonna see things. So as far as the whelping thing, you know, like I said, I get criticized for it, man. People.
Well, this is the thing I want to say is when you delegate, right? That's a really important skill to learn, is to delegate, because if Tony, just for the sake of whelping all your puppies, right? Just for the sake of it, and you whelped, 3 or 4 puppies or litters at a time, you're a human being, right? You only have so much time.
Right.
Where, my mom has a litter right now of his, and she's sending me pictures and look at this cute puppy and look at this one, and this one's my favorite. And like, she has the time to devote to give all of that into one litter, right? Same with Kelly or whoever else.
Yeah, that's why
it's hard to do that and spread yourself thin for the sake of what? When you have competent, incredible people in play that's going to do it, just as good.
Right. Yeah. And then,
Well,
like you said, you can't do it all yourself.
You can't.
So here's the thing: if I
you're
try to
never
do it
gonna
all
grow.
myself, here's the thing: if I tried to do it all myself, could I whelp litters? Absolutely. I've whelped hundreds of litters.
Right.
I do a great job at it. But here's the thing: if I took the time to whelp, just say one litter, which I've done a couple litters recently. I've done a couple litters I've done in the last 3 years. Maybe I've done one a year, 2 a year, and I've done them. I enjoy it. My daughter enjoys it. But here's the reality: that's taken a lot of time out of my day, a lot of time, and not just worried about, okay, well, I'm going to not be able to talk to the customers that I need to be able to talk to. I'm not going to be able to show the kennel to people I need to be able to show the kennel to, show the dogs. I'm not going to be able to coach these kids at baseball that I enjoy helping, softball kids. I'm not going to be able to coach these kids. I'm not going to be able to help out at the gym, at the boxing gym. I'm not going to be able to take my daughter to school when I need to because I got to do this. I'm not going to be able to cater to my children. Ain't no way in the world. I'm going to cater to my children. They're first, period. It's just how it goes. You know what I mean? And then I have to have a life. So I'm not going to give up my life 24/7 of a day of my life, which, that's what it would take to whelp the litters, to satisfy the Bretts and Karens in the world that feel that if you don't whelp your litters yourself, then you're not worthy to be getting a dog from. Here's the thing. It's a flip side switch to that. There's people out there that are new to this, that are whelping their litters out of dogs that are horrible temperament. They don't know what they're doing. Then I wouldn't get a dog from them for sure. But somebody like me that's 37 years in this shit, it doesn't mean nothing if I'm whelping my litters out. You're going to be whelping your litters out in the next couple of years. You're not going to keep doing it yourself, and you don't have to. It's not you have to keep doing it. Once you figure out what you got and you know your program, like you whelped a litter out of a couple females, you already know you're getting the same thing out of those same females that bred the same way. So if you want to send those out now, say that next year you guys got a lot of stuff going on with your kids and some sports events going on, and you're like, you know what, man, I'm going to breed this bitch, but I don't really want to breed her because I can't whelp at this time. It doesn't matter. You don't have to, because Joe can say, you know what? I already did it. I already know what's coming out of this. So I can let somebody, maybe Lamont got time. Maybe my cousin got time. Maybe somebody else I work with got time, and I know that they've done it an incredible job in their pen because I've seen it. Send the dog to them by all means, man, because why not? Why not? You should have to wait to breed that dog to get the pups that you want to see grow up. And that's with me. Like, do I breed 1 million dogs like some of these breeders, 50 dogs a year? Hell no. Those are puppy mills, these people that got their 50 and 60 dogs. I keep it the maximum, 26 dogs. I always tell people, oh, you can add more kennels here. You can add more. I ain't adding shit, because that's called neglecting the dogs. If I put 50 dogs on my yard or 40, you can't give the dogs the proper time. So 26 dogs, they get the proper time between me and my nephew. They get the proper time that they need, interaction with my kids down there, the little kids from the team, my cousins, nieces, nephews down there. They get incredible time. That's why when people come here to see my dogs, their temperaments are phenomenal. There's not a concern or worry. You go to these kennels with 50 or 60 dogs, these breeders couldn't even tell you the temperament of 40 of those dogs. They might know the first 10 they had. They don't know anything about them other dogs other than what's going to bleed in about 4 more months, because I got it written down, and I'm going to get a litter of 14 or 12 out of her, and I'm going to go to this male because I just brought him, and I don't know jack shit about him, but I just think that I'm going to put this male with that female, and it's just going to be a great litter. Like, I've seen people talk about that just got involved in this. This was just about 2 years ago. I recorded the guy, got a whole conversation, comical as hell, telling me, thinking I was a customer, didn't know me, that he's outdoing me and he's going to outbreed me and he's going to surpass me. I was like the only guy he cared about in the world, that he was going to surpass and this and that. And he's already got a litter coming that's better than what I produced, and it's going to be way better than anything I could produce. And it was out of a male he imported that has epilepsy loaded in the bloodlines, and a female that he got, that he told me on the phone when I was talking to him in the conversation, that she's a little bit dangerous, and you couldn't even, no way in the world, come in that house, and some stranger, if they were strangers, they're getting bit, period. But he bred her to this male who would let you carry the TV out of the house, and that litter was going to be the best litter in the world. And then I proceeded to question him. It was funny, and ask him and get him to admit. I said, well, you said this, and you said this about Mr. Scandy, and you're saying this, and and I want to believe you. It just sounds so right. You sound like a great salesman, but so tell me about the last litter, how this litter is going to be that great. So the temperaments of the last litter that's like a year old or 10 months old, they were all perfect. And how'd they turn out type-wise? Oh, well, sir, I didn't tell you there was a last litter. Well, no, but you told me this was going to be the best litter in the country ever. So you had to have had a last litter to be able to support what you're telling me, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I just know. Well, okay, so I get it, sir. So how do you know? You know because you've had a couple litters out of that stud dog that are already a year old, correct? Well, no. I mean, what do you mean you didn't have any litters out of that stud dog? I mean, how many did you have out of them? Well, I mean, this is going to be his first one. Oh, okay. So, I mean, you're really a rocket scientist. You got an actual crystal ball there that you know what he's going to throw. This dog's never been bred. And wait a minute, sir. You told me that this female, it's her first litter, and she's dangerous, and she goes back to some of those lines that I'm not going to mention. And I know those lines, and I've been told by everybody that those are really unstable. And you kind of told me it's unstable, but they're going to be perfect because you think that male is going to stable out that crazy female, and that they're going to be the best litter ever in the United States. Oh yeah, there's no doubt. And it's going to be your first litter ever in history, is what I'm starting to learn. Is that correct, sir? I mean, yeah. Man, you got it figured out, my man. Listen, this is Tony Scandy. I'm questioning this shit because you've been talking shit about me, telling all kinds of crazy stories. And listen, man, you don't know shit about nothing. You're a salesman. You were a plumber. Go back to plumbing. You might know that shit, but you're not going to lie to a million people all over the country and pretend that you're some rock star. Now, the male that you have, do you know that he's loaded with epilepsy in the bloodlines? Well, no, he's not. I said, do you know these dogs are loaded with epilepsy? Let me show you. You know a little bit about it, right? Well, yeah. I mean, that is loaded. I said, did you ever look at the pedigree beyond the third generation of what you have? Well, no. I mean, why should I have to? I said, well, the dogs that you just said are loaded with epilepsy, guess where they're at? They're fourth generation between the dog you have, you idiot. You don't know that shit, and you're breeding to an unstable basket case. You know what you should do with that female? Put her down. She should be put to sleep. You just told me everything about her. And that's going to be the best litter in the world. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And something about leveling up, I remember when my wife and I started a company, she was working with me with one of our kids on her back, you know what I mean? And we just started progressing, and got up to about 20 employees. I hadn't worked in that company for years.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't supposed to. I provided jobs.
Right.
Still to this day, for different businesses around this company, this city every day. I mean, I don't feel bad about hearing like you being in the game 37 years and you're giving people not only opportunities but teaching them. You know what I mean? And now even coming on a podcast, which, I'm so glad you can.
But you've been giving people purpose too, because
Joe.
Yeah. People had yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's really not a lot of communication. I'm not singling anybody out, but just in breeds with breed clubs, it's like a lot of gatekeeping, and people just want to know certain things. And if they don't have, if they don't know about guys like Tony, because I'm telling you, online is like the Matrix. It's like a whole world of people that don't pay attention to like Facebook and don't even know how. They more get wrapped up into the celebrity status you can build online. So, hello.
That's my nephew. Good guys.
Okay.
Hey, T.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's up, T?
Speaking of the kennel manager there.
But all those dogs loved him. Like,
oh my
he
gosh,
walked in that kennel. That was my first time seeing like him interact. I mean, I think he was there the time that we visited before, but to see him walk in and those dogs were like, I love this guy. I mean, those dogs are happy. Like all the dogs
Yeah.
in your kennel are happy. But to bring it back to the point that, you've kind of earned that I guess gift to be able to give to other people to oversee. It's not like you're just throwing these dogs and saying,
Mhm.
hey, here, whelp this litter for me. You're making sure everything is ran the way you want it to. And trust me when I tell you, Tony's going to make sure it's the way he wants it, or it's just not going to happen.
Period.
But that comes over time through, like he said, just like what Joe's doing and doing his own litters and all of the things.
Gotta put your hands on it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think that was an awesome episode, you guys. We covered a lot of different topics. Is there anything that you would want to ask Whitney really quickly of these two guys?
I think we covered it.
I think we did.
I think they did a great job answering
Mhm.
the questions that we had, and appreciate you being here with us, Joe.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
Love
it.
having
Yeah.
you.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah. Always fun. Anything you want to leave us with, Joe, before we let
I just want to reiterate on something I said again, thanking Tony for coming online, helping. There's some other podcasts out there. I'm gonna put some light on that's doing the same kind of work. You don't see them much, so I'm gonna try to help them do it. And they've been doing their thing for a long time. There's other breeders podcasts, you just can't see them. So collabing like this helps. But yeah, man, Tony coming online, you ladies coming online, and everything. Man, we appreciate it, because sometimes for like 2 years I felt like I was out here fighting by myself.
you are paving the way, Joe, and we just appreciate you so much.
Yeah,
You paved the way.
yeah.
Building that
And
open.
what I gotta say, man, like I tell people, I gotta thank you, Joe. You're the one that I thank, because without you doing the podcast you're doing, I still would have been on here probably.
Right.
Watching you, what you went through, and the reality of how you wanted to do things the right way, and not bullshit way like a lot of these podcast people got. It's just all about them selling their dogs, lying to people. I mean, it's just, they're terrible. Like majority of these Corso podcasts, I mean, almost all of them. I don't know of any. Is there any good ones out there, or are they all full of shit?
It's a good it's a good one or two out there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They not in that format though. They more like just showing their dogs.
A lot of them are just total bullshit, total full of shit. And that's what I see, and then watching you having to fight against some of those type of people, it's like, you know what, man, you've been telling me for years, get your ass on here, man. You need to be on here. Whitney's been telling me, you know what I mean? She's for years, everybody's been saying it. And, it's just, I got so tired of just having to talk to every person on the phone 5 times a day with the same story. You know what, man, this really opened up something. I'm so happy that you got me to do it, but you guys are the ones that got me to do it. And I'm thrilled. And I get a lot of people through the country, other countries even, that are happy as hell that we're doing it, man. They're happy as hell that we're on here talking, just like you said. They're thrilled to death. They want to hear from real people and real stories. They want to hear the reality.
And Joe, you've fought the good fight along the way, because you have, you've pushed away some things that, different roads that you could have went down. You're like, nope, this is the way it's going to be done.
Sometimes I drive off the road a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because I get frustrated. I'm telling you, I done got more life threats than Martin Luther King. They call me Martin Luther King Corso. You know, they can't pronounce it right. They call me Martin Luther King Corso. Yeah.
Right.
But I appreciate it and everything. We just gonna keep going and everything, and keep collabing and everything. I need somebody to help me with a collab right now. But
All right. Well, you guys, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Everybody, don't forget to like, subscribe, share this across all the platforms. And until next time.
Share it everywhere. This will help people all over, and even different breeds. The same stuff we talked about in this breed goes for all your different breeds. No different.
That's right.
Share it everywhere to help everybody in all breeds.
Yes, sir.
All right. Bye, guys.
Yeah.